the Shy. SOFM isn't able to cover for it. If On is going to go on to an Enchanter, fantastic. Well, then we don't have to worry about trying to cover anymore for On, and it just is a 3-man dive consistently topside.
Yeah, well, we're going to see that now. Weibo did lose the first game, so they put themselves back onto the red side. They were the higher seeds, so they chose red side first. So they are highlighting that one, which is a bit interesting to me as well, because Weibo, or it's not Weibo, just the general kind of feeling towards playoff has been the blue side more so than the red.
Yeah, and I think that has been seen kind of across the board, but it does give a lot of counter picks, especially towards like mid for Angel, potentially for the Shy. But Sejuani again going to be the same ban here for our pickup, sorry, for LNG. So we're seeing a very similar story. I just hope that we do get onto something that's a little bit more proactive. But the Ari immediately picked up for Angel. Not going to let that go to the second ban phase.
Yeah, I mean we see it already. Like, you know, the Azir, the Sylas being banned away, LNG banned away the Ari as well, and it is just highlighting a very big hole, I suppose, in the side of Weibo's kind of champion pools, where it's saying like Angel, yes, he has picks, but in terms of picks he can be proactive on, definitely want to get him something on the Ari, so like to see that coming out here. And LNG, again, don't fix what not broken. Keep going with what you're going, because that Sejuani is still technically a flex towards that top side.
Yeah, I am curious though, like what happens for Doomy in this next rotation, because at least you'll be able to ban away picks that can do well into the Ari, and with Sylas already taken off the board as well, it makes things a lot easier for Angel to get control over that mid lane. Maybe just ban the Lissandra, these kind of things. SOFM though was considering the Wukong. Looks like he will go back over towards the Vi here, so I'm wondering if Angel and SOFM now can have a bit of a better time through this mid jungle again, as we talk about, like ban's more than likely going to be the mid lane here for Weibo, and then they can try and lean in towards the Shy, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see where they want to go for. Again, the Vi I don't think is a bad pick whatsoever. I just think it's how you enable it is the biggest question right there. And the Ari and the Vi, very powerful combination. You can land the Q there with the Vi, even a flash Q, get into the charm. It's a guaranteed setup. We will see the Ala champion pool being banned away, the Fiora, the Jax things that you want to try and take off of him, so you know that you have yourself a much better setup. And it does feel like the side of LNG, or excuse me, the side of Weibo, feel that LNG is still going to put that Sejuani into the jungle. Because again, I think Tarzan, yes, it's a top laner in most other teams' books, but Tarzan's kind of shown, look, this is my champion, I love it.
Yeah, the thing is though, like you always will end up a counter pick here for the Shy. You're not blinding the Gwen and then needing to ban away, so I'm surprised they're not just trying to set up Angel for a better time, but obviously a bit worried about the Fiora and the Gwen as well. But now we'll have to see exactly what the game plan is going to be. LNG though, more than likely going to end up towards another support ban, but I still want to see kind of more proactive picks for on the spot side. I don't want to see him go back towards an Enchanter.
Wow, okay, so LNG recognizing, hey, look, we might not be able to take this ourselves, so we need to take it away, because an early game top laner, or even, you know, kind of something that can do damage to Ala, the Renekton fits that very, very nicely. Still yet to see the Shy play it back in the split, but definitely something within his wheelhouse. Like we said, the Renekton has just been staple in the LPL for years.
I'm just not, again, a big fan of this Lulu pick for On. On is 6th in the league right now for kills participation at 15 for supports, and he's such a massive part of Weibo's early game, and to see him then limited to the support role does suck, but that does not suck. This is a Yone pickup here for Doomy in the mid lane, and the Jax coming through as well on that top side. This is exciting stuff for LNG.
I mean, this is early game personified right now for LNG. They are looking at themselves and saying, yes, we are all AD. It does not matter, because we're going to end this game before you can get your super tanks online, before you can get the unholy amount of damage that you can get with the Aphelios coming in for you. And we're going to see now Weibo. We talked about this just a little bit. The Shy has a 0% win rate on tanks. It does work if you get to the hyper late game, because he's just not going to die, but at the same time, the Shy hasn't really shown an affinity to this.
0% on Shyvana, 0% on Ornn, Mordekaiser, and that Sejuani as well. It has not been a good time for the Shy on tanks, because that has not been the game plan for Weibo. Like, Huanfeng, as we already stated, is having a pretty lackluster split, so having a composition here for Weibo that heavily relies on Huanfeng now to be that late game damage dealer just hasn't been the winning formula. And when you look at again at how LNG, a lot of backline access, a lot of opportunities to try and go for these dives on towards Huanfeng, they're going to have their work cut out for them. But even if you want to just play side lanes, right? Yone, fantastic in a side lane. Jax, fantastic in a side lane. And the opportunity again to play heavily through this top side of the map.
I mean, even think of the new Yone build. If you're looking at Yone and saying, oh, cool, crit, he's going to be able to one-shot people. No, not so. You go towards the Blade of the Ruin King, you either get the Frostfire or the Sunfire Aegis, and you become this side lane tank-killing tank. You are just so difficult to kill because of your mobility, because of the extra stats you're given. It becomes a problem. So in the mid-game, LNG have their number.
Yeah, it's something we saw a lot with picks like the Aurelia, and now it's kind of been adopted by, you know, the Renekton's and everyone else's. I mean, hell, we're even seeing the Dianas use that Sunfire Aegis in the jungle. It's just so incredibly strong at the moment, and the amount of health you get, the cost efficiency of it as well. Now, the cost efficiency did get nerfed a little bit on 12.14 or 12.13. I can't remember exactly what patch it was, but still just a very, very good item at the moment, and so many different picks are able to use it.
All right, well, we got the compositions locked and loaded here now, Dagdan. Honestly, I gotta say, I think LNG, like we said, they've picked a composition that has very good early game, has got some fantastic agency of itself, and if we see something like a Jax this time around, yes, last time the Akali got ahead of the Gwen, but it's still a Gwen. The Gwen's still going to be relevant and such like that. If the Ornn gets put behind against a split push Jax or even a Yone against an Ahri, there's just no real response for you there. How do you actually take them down? So for LNG, I think we're going to see the same kind of topside focus from them again.
Yeah, I think it'll be a split map here. I think for LNG, playing towards that top side, just trying to get this Jax ahead is going to be your best bet. Also, because you know the Shy isn't comfortable on tanks, can fall very far behind even on picks like the Ornn. Whereas I think for Weibo, trying to play towards Wanfeng is going to be your best bet. You should have pushed in mid lane with this Ahri being able to then roam towards Wanfeng in the spot lane, trying to get the Aphelios ahead, but again, like Weibo haven't been particularly proactive in the early stages. We haven't seen them play a huge amount for things like dragons and all that kind of stuff. Now, we saw an inkling of it in the last game where they did pick up the first 2 dragons, but I mean, it's just not going to be enough here if you're not able to get the control of this game early.
I mean, we're looking at 2 teams with both having a world champion on them. They're looking at Doonby in the mid lane and, of course, the Shy up in top. Both these teams feel like they've kind of built rosters that should be contesting towards those top 4. Remember, there are only 4 seeds for the LPL going into Worlds, and this is a moment, this is a series that if you win, you at least get Gauntlet. That is the bare minimum you get. You lose, your season is done. For LNG, they are going full pedal to the metal. They are looking to try and take out Weibo and continue their fantastic playoff form. And for Weibo, they're looking to try and upset the expectations there. They need to try and find some momentum.
Yeah, the problem is necklace diff, though. The fact that you see LNG coming in, I don't know what's in these magical formulas around their neck.
With the necklace.
Yeah. but you look at them, right? Like it just feels like they've stepped up a notch coming in towards the end of the split, coming in towards playoffs, and now we got to see how this is all going to come together for LNG, because right now they look undominable, and especially when you're looking at ourselves as well. Every single person on our team doubted them. Nobody believed that LNG would be able
was
to
the
take
closest,
this.
and I still said no.
But even then, it's like, this is LNG now, at least up in game. And as well, I think it's kind of been a step up for cross support. Ala, since coming back into this roster, looks far stronger. Lu Mao, coming back into the roster, looking far stronger. Not getting caught out in weird places like he used to when we look towards the mid-game. Actually setting up with the team. He's looking almost like he's getting back to that form that we saw from in 2020, where not only was he one of the top supports, but he was meta-defining in some of his champion picks.
He really, really was. And I think LNG, like we've mentioned, have just leveled up that little bit more than everybody else. And from what we saw yesterday with EDG, what we might see coming forward, it feels like you have to. And that's what's so incredibly amazing about the LPL and specifically our playoffs. If you level up, if you get that little bit of an edge, you can push the momentum. You can just take teams by surprise. And honestly, looking at this, if LNG continue with this kind of form and hypothetically speaking they win, V5 got to be looking over their shoulder kind of thinking, Jesus, that's not a team we can take lightly.
I mean, we already said it, LNG, they want to date a revenge date with JDG after they were booted out unceremoniously in spring. And they'll be looking to try and beat Weibo, beat V5 to reconvene later on with JDG, but they do have to try and get through Weibo first. Right now, it is looking good for them. I feel like playing through topside is going to be their best bet again. We'll have to see if they can take it over.
We'll have to wait and see. Both these teams now have seen each other once. See what happens the second time around. LNG 1-0 up in the series. They can get themselves up to a 2-0. That would be exceptional, unheard of and unthought about between most people who watch the LPL. We'll have to see what it all ends up happening. LNG versus Weibo, game number 2. Now we can start to see just a very standard 5-point setup right now. No one kind of expecting any shenanigans. Honestly, I just want to look to see what LNG can do. I want to see what Weibo can do to mitigate it as well.
Yeah, I think this game is going to get really, really bloody when it looks towards the next Rift Herald, or the first Rift Herald. Like, it just feels like for LNG, using that to crack open lanes, get advantages as the Shine Ala is still going to go at it. But just being able to get advantages for LNG for their solo laners through that Herald is going to be so incredibly important, and especially when you're looking at the ability to look for skirmishes with Doomby, with Ala, even Light and Lumao, who should have control over the bot side. That's when I'm going to be an eye up. And LNG traditionally have been the stronger Rift Herald team, like 4th in the league for their first Rift Herald control. Like, this is even what we saw in the last game, then leaning more towards that top side of the map, and I expect it to happen again.
Yeah, like we said, Weibo did get the first 2 dragons in the last game. It didn't really matter because LNG had a very clear game plan. It wasn't about power later with the dragons, it was about money now. It was about getting those item advantages and moving that momentum forward with them. So we'll see what they end up kind of working towards this side around. Again, you have the Sejuani, you have double melee solo lanes as well, so getting that stack up as well on the W is, and the permafrost is just going to be so easy should you find an opportunity.
Both junglers for the moment, though, are pathing down towards this bottom side. So again, I think for Weibo, playing down towards On and Huanfeng is going to be your best bet, trying to deny Lightning movement, Lumao control, but also getting Huanfeng as accelerated as possible. Because look at the damage profile. Like, he is the main source of damage on Weibo. Angel is not going to be the carry. So if Huanfeng falls behind, Weibo will as well.
I mean, that's the big thing. When you pick an Ahri, you're not picking the Ahri to be a massive damage threat. Yeah, it's not an Azir, it's not something that, or a Victor that will just one-shot people in the late game. You're using it for your utility. And we've seen this a million times now. Doonby and Tarzan linking up in towards this mid lane. Will they get the flash out of Angel? That's going to be the question here. He will be able to slow, not quite able to get the slow down. Just a little bit of a charm on the back side of that one there. And Angel just gets moved away from the way, but he shouldn't lose too much.
Yeah, Tarzan just going to move back in towards his own jungle. So nice attempt from Tarzan, and this is what we've seen a lot with Tarzan and Doomby now, working through that mid jungle, very early ganks in towards the mid lane to try and make sure that Doomby's going to be safe. And even though it doesn't net the kill, it does mean that Doomby gets the freezes wave just outside the tower. Make sure that you're not able to get Angel to have this like quick reset that Ares would love to do into these melee matchups, but it does open up for SOFM, who wants to try and get on towards Tarzan.
I mean, yeah, you push it bot side, push it mid. You've got such priority on this bottom half of the map. SOFM now feeling confident to say, look, we're not just going to let this one go to the wayside. You're not going to get all your buffs and move on forward there. They know that Weibo's bot lane are moving up towards this one here as Lumao tries to keep everything a little bit going. I've seen fairly decent bubbles coming out, but Lumao doesn't quite have that one available to him just yet. Still only level 2, and it looks like it's just going to be a red buff steal, and everyone back to the lanes.
Yeah, and I think SOFM here could even just go for a scuttle into scuttle if you really want to, but actually looks like that was taken by Ala in that top side, so he's just going to move back in towards his wolves, make sure that he's able to reset, move up towards Krugs, and then maybe threaten on towards this top side. But again, I think for SOFM, your best bet is to try and stay down towards this bot side of the map. Let Huanfeng and On have that help so they don't fall behind.
Yeah, well, plenty of wards here for Weibo, as they're going to have to probably immediately recognize that Tarzan is in the vicinity. So they really want to try and push this wave back, though, and Huanfeng is in a little bit of trouble. You can flash in here with the Arctic Assault and get a hell of a lot working for you. They don't know exactly where he is, but the Vi is now coming. They're going to try and pinch down on the Tarzan. Tarzan knows, yeah, he needs to get the hell out of Dodge. He knows he's been spotted out, so he's just going to try and back himself away while Vi plays cover.
Yeah, Tarzan still needs to stay here, though, and play that cover, because look at where the wave state is. Like, Lightning Lumao, very low on mana, could easily fall to SOFM, and they're on a ward.
Yeah, they're trying to, you can see Weibo are maybe saying, oh, we don't know that Tarzan's here, but maybe we do. It's kind of a, do you know we know, and do we know you know? That's the big question that's kind of coming out right now. Flash forward there, and Ala's looking for a solo kill onto the Shy. Doesn't have the leap strike, though, for the moment, and needs to back himself away, but already we're seeing the Shy being contained and honestly just challenged in this top lane.
Yeah, I mean, you'll still get Ala, who's going to TP back in, should be able to catch this wave. Same from the Shy, so it's going to be more a case of, okay, well, what happens when we get junglers up here? And with level 6 just around the corner for both these top laners, I think that might actually hurt Ala just a little bit more if SOFM wants to try and look for a gank up in this top lane.
Well, good push in here from the Shy means that he's able to get the wave to crash and get himself back out, so not doing too badly in that regards at all. And now LNG not having the same kind of explosive start to this game, but definitely feels like Weibo have learned their lessons and are covering the little angles that LNG might find themselves in an opportunity.
Yeah, at least at the moment, though, Weibo are keeping this like kind of slow, so you are getting time for Huanfeng to scale. You're looking at that late game scaling with the Orin for team fights as well. Whereas for LNG, it's about trying to get these solo laners ahead. But at the moment, like Ala, basically even in this top side. I know he has this wave to push in, but Doomby kind of in the same position. Like, it's just waiting for this first skirmish with level 6's hit come, now for both solo laners, where maybe you can make these melee plays work.
Kind of come back down. It's been a bit of a slow one. This is what we expected, to be perfectly honest, as well. This is what we have seen from both these sides. We were chatting a little bit over breakfast today. We had a nice little Irish fry-up. It was beautiful. These are two teams that generally have had a little bit more, I say, kind of tempered starts to the game. They're very much, as we mentioned with Weibo, but even LNG towards the regular split, we're very much looking towards opportunities later on towards those Rift Heralds and such, but it isn't going to be as explosive as Game 1, and we're going to be waiting to see where they end up working towards themselves. And honestly, I think Ala is going to be a big pivotal piece with this as well, especially with the way he builds. Obviously, he's going to go towards the Divine Sunderer, but have seen slightly different builds coming in here for the Jax. Does he want to go for team fight, split push? What does he want to do is going to be a big component of how LNG play this game.
Yeah, I think it will be split push, but we have seen in the past that LNG have actually struggled to make, we even saw in Game 1, split push not really working out. This is not working out for Tarzan as well. He immediately has to go over the wall, but yeah, I mean, the ability for them to sync up correctly with where they are positioned on the map, make sure that they're not in a position to get caught out, has been a big issue for LNG. So I'm curious to see if they do just directly opt in towards full split push, as you say, like Hull Breaker and these kind of things coming through from Ala, or if we actually see them pretending more towards that team fight style. I think, at least in the for people like Doomby, because you're more than likely going to see the Blade of the Rune King, Frostfire build, you can play kind of for both. But I definitely think for Ala, like, playing more towards a bit of a team fight build is going to be necessary with just how slow-paced this game is being.
I see now the Shy. That's the big thing with Ornn, though, is that if you're wondering why we don't see Ornn as often as not, is that in a lot of matchups, he does end up in this situation where to push the wave, to get that priority, he does need to expend a hell of a lot of mana, so does end up using that resources. Does do well against something like a Jax to kind of just push him in, but no real kill pressure there available to him, and that's why we see things like the Mana Crystal being built up, because he's just kind of like, I need a little bit of extra, I need something to keep me going in this lane.
Yeah, you just don't really get to trade effectively as Ala until you get Divine Sunder. Especially with the changes to Divine Sunder, where like even the heal is based off of like the max health damage you do and everything. That's the big power spike for Ala in this matchup, where he can try and have a bit more control. But for the Shy at the moment, he's just a case of, hey, look, I'm more in a shove in. You're not really going to have too much of pressure against me. But I gotta say, like, for LNG, they have been doing a lot of the things that we highlighted at the start of the day. At the start of this game, to try and slow down. Weibo have been doing a lot of the stuff that we want to do for LNG to slow down, right? They have great vision control. Like, when you look at that bottom side with Tarzan trying to make plays, couldn't get in because of the vision control. Look at the top side around Rift Herald, trying to vision control there as well, making sure that, again, that Tarzan can't find these plays. It is Weibo kind of learning from their mistakes and now seeing if they can at least crack open this game against LNG. Again, I feel like Rift Herald now up, definitely going to be a big point of contention for LNG.
And I mean, it's working across the board as well. You've got CS leading top, CS leading jungle, mid, bot lane. It's these little advantages that are going to mean that you get your item spike a little bit quicker. You're in a stronger position to make things like this happen because you have the vision control. You know that Tarzan's in that top side, so you can give over all of this fantastic golden resources over to the side of your bot lane and get Huanfeng, your real soul damage dealer, some exceptionally good money here.
Yeah, and you can even see the CS advantage that's opening up on the spot side for Huanfeng and on as well, on top of the fact that this the plates are going across, and maybe a dragon as well, especially if LNG on this ward are going to be seen starting up this Herald. But keep my eyes on SFM and Angel, because it looks like they want to contest. Yeah,
they want to go for this one here. It's going to be a 3v3, but you do have the Lulu coming up. It'll be very late here for the Lulu, but they've jumped straight in on top of the mid laner, and that's Ari dead. Yes, you will have the Call of the Forge God coming out, but can you get SOFM out? That's the real question. Now the Shy's in a lot of trouble as he's already flashed away. On will have the Wild Growth available to him should he need it. Exhaust goes down. That's onto Ala. Nice 3-man knock-up, and they've turned this one back nicely. And there's a tidal wave, though, as it floods their health bars. That is a quadra kill nearly coming out for LNG's mid laner. Doomby is huge.
I mean, the triple for Doomby. Cool, calm, and collected on your... Sorry, I love that you can see, you still see him spamming the summoner spells, as in true Doomby fashion. But fantastic stuff for LNG, and this is why for Weibo, choose your fights. Either go for the bot lane plays, go for Dragon, or move everyone for the team fight at Rift Herald. But you can see there, they kind of split the mark. You get Angel, SOFM, and Shy, who just aren't able to commit as heavily to these skirmishes as LNG are. And even when you get on coming up, maybe they can turn around. Luma's in position, but Huanfeng went straight back bot. He wasn't trying to help out there, and we have talked about this skirmishes on the top side for LNG being so strong, and we're getting the proof in the pudding.
I mean, it's such a weird contest. Like you said, it was like, LNG get themselves the Rift Herald. That meant the pressure for Weibo. We just expected it to be a trade of a dragon for a Rift Herald, but then Weibo don't get the dragon. They decide to kind of go for the contest, and it's just not really going to work out. Now you're looking at a 4-kill Duanby who's coming in on top of this Yone. He's going to probably have, I was going to say the Blade of the Ruined King straight off the bat, and now the Shy's in a lot of trouble because he doesn't have flash, which means the leap strikes can keep this Ala right on top of him. 2 or 3 more auto attacks will do it. And Ala with the solo bolo. You got the second most solo kills in regular split. It does not matter because there's a solo death.
LNG are running away with these playoff series. We saw it against BLG, commanding game 1, commanding game 2, and we're seeing the exact same here against Weibo. And I mean, for LNG, they've still got everything that they want still up, right? They can still go towards Rift Herald, they can still go towards Dragons, but we're actually going to get the replay of the Rift Herald here. And Tarzan, great engage on towards Angel, locks them up. There's nowhere for him to go. And again, Ala flashing forward here onto SOFM, the squishier member. So great fights, but we're back into live.
Oh my god, we're back straight into live. As you can see, they're trying to jump on the Duanby. You got Tarzan here trying to put down the damage on the SOFM, but the wild growth is good enough. And that's going to be a trade back here, but you had to commit all your resources there from Weibo just to make sure you did not die.
Yeah, Weibo, though, still eyeing up this bot side. You can see Light had pushed in that bot wave, but now going to back away. Ala starting up the Rift Herald, thinking...
Oh, SOFM! He just sat there on a ward, lazy backing right there, and all that good that you were just setting up is just not going to work out. Now the Shy in a lot of trouble. Again, this is Ala kind of saying, look, I'm a level ahead of you. I have a Divine Sunderer, that spike you're talking about. The Shy can't do anything about it. He might actually just go straight underneath the tower and take him down. 1-2, Uni flew. Ala is destroying you.
We're seeing why the Shy has a 0% win rate on tanks. This is not the way the Shy plays, because he always tries to fight, and Ala is running amok in this top side. 2 kills now for Ala, 4 kills for Doomby, who's just solo the Rift Herald. So guess who's going to get a whole heap of extra gold in this top side. Light will take a bad trade on bot lane, but I mean, SFM could be next to go now in this top lane if he sticks around.
I mean, this is so dangerous to kind of look at this right now. And again, we were just full of praise there for a moment for Weibo because they had done their work. They had done their little bit of homework in the break and said, how do we mitigate this? How do we slow down the game and get ourselves into those big team fights? They had done it, and then just one bad call leads to this landslide.
And we're seeing now the vision control slip back over in favor of LNG. 3 pink wards on the top side of the map. Yes, you've got some for Weibo here on the bot side. Is On and Huanfeng are trying to clear that out, but I mean, LNG are just coming off of reset. Actually, I take that back. Ala's doing blue buff, but maybe they're looking for the play of Angel.
Angel, ooh, he ults away. But then you don't have the Spirit Rush now, and if you look for a contest, Angel needs to be very, very careful how he goes for this one here. Dragon is still being taken here by the Weibo bot side, and good proactive play from them to recognize they had an opportunity to get themselves that objective.
I love how all the objectives that have been taken on the map thus far have not had junglers involved.
Nope.
But I mean, look at Ala again. Like, what is the Shy doing? Like, you just saw this play out, and then you're like, hey, here's extra gold. Now, I mean, you can just do that even worse than before.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so easy for Ala, and something like a Jack, we talked about it as well when we said that the early game goes ahead. If the Jax gets ahead, this happens. This is exactly the situation that we talked about being such a horrible situation here for Weibo, because how do you mitigate this? There's no one who can really solo go in against the Jax.
And this is the problem, right? Because Ala eventually will get to a stage where he just ignores the damage from the Ornn, right? Like, once you start to get a couple of these items under your belt, you just don't have to worry about it. He can very quickly knock through these towers. He's already nearly got that tower in the top lane gone. Doomby is huge as well. Like, already, as you say, Blade of the Ruined King completed 12, well, she was 11 minutes. Is absolutely insane. Plus the fact now he's working up towards that Frostfire Gauntlet as well. Like, both solo lanes for LNG again, wow. You'll see him, the player gold. Massive, 7,000 gold for Doomby right now.
Yeah, it's 1,500 golds basically a piece in terms of the advantage. I will say Huanfeng doing well to keep himself in tow, but again, it's an Aphelios that's not going to have that kind of same factor that you're going to really need until about 3 items, maybe even 4 at this point, because you're not really going to be able to take anyone out. And to be honest with you, the Fate Sealed, the Jax Counter-Strike with the Leap Strike, there's so many things that you have to be aware of that if you get jumped on, you're probably just going to die. So LNG, fantastic from them right now, and similar to Game 1, they're in control. They are the ones that are dictating the pace. They are the ones that are saying to Weibo, come at us, you got to be innovative, you got to try and be proactive.
And again, it's this top side, right? Like, Huanfeng, when you look at his stats, he's like 33% kill participation, 15. He's nothing. He's not involved in the plays in the early stages. It's Weibo trying to play more heavily through this top side of the map, like looking for individual plays. They're supposed to be in their lane and thriving, but instead, we're seeing that's not the case, and the Shy... Oh, actually, Angel.
Oh, Angel, he has got the mobility, but can he get himself away? That's the real question. It's going to be a fight on the top side, though. It's 1v1 and a 3v3s. We can see them going in. SOFM is so low, and he's taken out. Angel has a flash to get himself over the wall, but he's in no man's land. He might have to use the teleport to get himself away, but no one's chasing him, so he should just be able to recall. But again, another kill, another bit of momentum, and you've lost so much in this. Look at the flashes that were burnt.
And there's no reason to even try and find these fights as Weibo. Like, Angel was getting out. They all try to bum rush into River to see if they can try and find something, but LNG are all waiting for them. So you get the kill. Now Doomby is going to get this bot terror. Top lane was already taken as well. So across the board, LNG are just picking up these massive victories for themselves. And I just don't see a way for Weibo to come back into it. And honestly, at the moment, like with Allah having the 2 solo kills, he's kind of looking at the Shy going, second team all-pro. Yeah, right.
I mean, honestly, it feels like Allah's just kind of really just dumpstering the Shy right now, because yes, in the Game 1 there was an awful lot of resources thrown to him. In Game 2 he's just been soloing him and saying, cool, I'm in the Jax, I understand this matchup better than you do, and he's kind of proving it.
Yeah, and especially when we talked about like the Shy having the counter pick, knowing what he was going up against, and coming out with the Orin wasn't the call, and you can see why now it's just not looking good. And here, like, great play from Doomby, like catches Angel, and Angel had to go into stopwatch here, because don't forget, when you go back as Doomby here, you're going to get all that damage that comes out from the E as well, but Weibo trying to suddenly collapse onto Doomby makes no sense here when they have no vision, and they end up getting completely caught out of result.
Yeah, it's a 5,000 gold lead now. It's LNG basically waiting for the next Rift Herald to spawn, and honestly, they can say themselves, yeah, you can have the second dragon. You're not really on a good pace for a Dragon Soul, so we're not really bothered by that, and they've made their stance very, very clear. We want power now. You have 2 items onto your Lucian. You have 2 items onto your Yone. There's just so much power packed into everything that LNG have right now that they have got the pick of the litter. It's going to take a lot from LNG or from Weibo to really bring this one back.
I think we're going to see a very similar story to Game 1 here, where Weibo will get first 2 dragons, LNG will go first 2 Rift Heralds, right?
Cool, light. Just cleanse off there. Allah came in with the counter-strike just to dissuade everybody else. 30 seconds till both the dragon and the Rift Herald spawn, and Weibo have lost the Spirit Rush from Angel already. So, and that's before, by the way, Yone has joined into the fight. So, you got to be very, very careful with how you bring this. Remember, no flash on SOFM, no flash on Angel. It's going to be on Huanfeng to do the real damage, but he's already getting poked out. That rapid-fire cannon, that extra little bit of range is doing well. They're going to jump in onto Huanfeng. There's the call of the Forge God, but it completely whiffed. Tidal wave across the rest of the team, and Weibo are scattered to the winds. They don't know where they want to be. And in a 3v1 situation, it's Allah who comes out on top and forces the rest of Weibo and their damage back to their towers.
Everyone on Weibo ended up in a position that they didn't want to be in. The Shy tries to go in for the ultimate, completely whiffs on that one thanks to the stun from Allah. SOFN ends up flying way deep into the LNG backline as Doomby resets. And LNG find the fight win, they'll get the tower, and again, Doomby not quite able to find SOFM as he's able to reset, but Dragon goes, Rift Herald should be theirs as well here on LNG side, and you just don't get anything.
They won't be able to take the Rift Herald because they haven't got enough time. Okay. But at the same time, let's have a look at the replay here, because again, you can see what Weibo want to do, but the damage on the Huanfeng means that your damage dealer is gone. Everyone has to flash away from Yone.
Great flash from Doomby though, and there you can see SOFM basically being sent on his merry way as he tries to follow the Yone back, but Tarzan just able to solo out Angel here on the back end of the fight. You got Allah who's chasing off with the 2 members as well. Like, where's your frontline setup? Where is the ability to try and enable Huanfeng in these fights, even though he's only at an item and a half?
I mean, it's just going to become harder as well. Like they said, the Dragon's being changed. a single dragon can have a lot of a difference, but getting that extra out of combat move speed, even the slow resistance, to be perfectly honest, is going to be very significant in these small little skirmishes, because it means you can get around the map faster. The Lulu's not going to have as much disengage because it's not going to slow you as long. These little small things that can just add up on top of you, and Weibo have to be feeling the pressure. It's a 7,000 gold lead, Dagda. We're 21 minutes in. This is almost faster than game number 1.
And it's got to feel good for LNG. Again, like looking back at that 2021 run, trying to see if they can get themselves back towards the World Championship again and represent the LPL. Even for Tarzan as well, like 2019 Worlds quarterfinals, he lost to the Shy on IG and now may prevent the Shy from going to Worlds as well. LNG really want to make sure that they're able to continue their walk with destiny. And even for LNG as well, a team that has never finished above 4th, for them to now potentially be pushing up, if they can get the win here, if they can take a win over V5, getting into that top 4, see if they can finally beat the curse that has been there since Snake and LNG.
I mean, a big thing for me is, like he's mentioned, is that Tarzan taking down the Shy, which he lost to in the quarterfinals of 2019, to then set himself up with a rematch against Rookie, who was also on that IG team. So much history between these players right now, and you've got a Blade the Ruin King on the bot side, which means you can go for a fight here. The Vi is dead. That's Baron. There's nothing else you can do.
The Shy
Look at the picture-in-picture. The Shy, he's getting solo boloed a 3rd time because it's the charm, and now everyone's trying to deal with this. Allah not quite able to do much else on top of that, but you've used the Moonlight Vigil, the Wild Growth, your Baron is gone. Weibo had to throw all the resources bot.
And LNG, they want to get back into that top spot of playoffs. This is fantastic stuff from LNG, from a team that had so many doubts over the course of the split, unable to make split push work, unable to make their early game work. Every time they seemed to go into a game, it was some new issue, somebody not performing. But playoffs, buff is real for this team, and they will not be stopped by BLG, and they certainly don't look like they're going to let Weibo do it either.
I mean, it's just the fact they're firing on all cylinders. Like you just said, it's not just the mid lane, it's not just the jungle. Everyone is playing their role absolutely perfectly. And like I said earlier, they're being decisive. They're being the team that says, yes, we are going for this and we are committing.
I mean, again, the Shy just completely outdone by Allah in this side lane. Caught out, thought he had Wanfeng on, but nobody there in time. And yes, Wanfeng will get the return kill, but the damage has already been done.
I mean, Wanfeng got the return kill, but that costs you your exhaust, the Wild Growth, the Moonlight Vigil, which means you don't have them right now for maybe a potential push in this mid lane. And this is only 3 of the 5 members right now. You've got Doomby coming in off the backside of that one here. He's almost got himself up towards, I believe, is going to be a death stance. But Allah, he's being a bit careful. There's the rest of his team coming in on top of him. And again, similar to game 1, we are seeing a couple of mid-game decision-makings going up against LNG. They just need to make sure they, cross their T's, dot their I's. They might not need to because the bubble lands. The tidal wave is good. And look now, picks up a kill. Now Doomby can jump back in with the fight. Goes back in with fate sealed as against soul unbound, rebound to himself. The Shy goes over the wall, and they're just cleaning them up left and right. It's just the little Lulu left to look at the remnants of a fight where they're all alone.
LNG look at Weibo and say 4v5? Yeah, that seems unfair for you. Absolutely destroy them in the team fight. Now they're onto the base. 24 minutes into the game with Baron still available. They should be able to crack up in these turrets. 20 seconds until Weibo are up though. So it looks like instead they will just back away. They'll look at this next dragon for themselves in 30 seconds and happily look to continue this dominance.
I mean, this isn't even close, Dagda, right now. This does not look like the 6th best team against the 7th best team, or even not even the 7th, the 8th best team.
It looks like the 0-6th best team. What are you talking about?
So here's a little fun tidbit. Here's a little fun thing, right? I have said to many people, I am not the biggest advocate of the Shy. I think he's very good. Whenever I cast the Shy, this happens. I don't know why it happens, but every time I'm casting him, he just seems to just implode or I don't know what's going on. He caves in upon himself. He has yet to get more than a kill a game in the last 4 games I've casted of him. I don't get it.
We need to sub you out so we can get a series, because honestly, I don't know where Weibo is. Like, this is just LNG having the run of the mill. Great stuff from LNG here, like to hide in the bush, but honestly, I think you should have spotted this out from Weibo. Like, they were just mid lane. Now suddenly it's only Doomby pushing mid lane. Object permanence is a thing, but apparently not for Weibo. Now LNG pushing into the base. Baron buff will fade as, oh my god.
They just find Angel and he's dead. this is the pick that they prioritized for Weibo.
happened?
What happened indeed? I actually just looked over there as well.
What fuck's it?
This is the game. It's over. 25.5 minutes. LNG are on match point.
Yeah, Doomby giving a happy little clap for himself there, as he should be. Brilliant game from the LNG mid laner. 4 kills found early, a lot of them coming from that early skirmish at the Rift Herald, and Weibo, I mean, you can see it, dejected faces there. They just look completely lost in this series.
I mean, they look done. I mean,
Yeah.
look, it's 2-0 down. You still have an opportunity. It's going to require a reverse sweep. But the LNG are just making you look like, honestly, like just like kids playing for the first time. They're just it's like watching an NFL team against like a high school team. You know what I mean? It's not fun to watch because you're kind of going, oh, it's a little sad, really. It doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, well, when you're looking at like Doomby barreling over the 2 guys that are coming through from him, yeah. But this is it. Like, honestly, when you look at LNG, right? Like, again, super strong mid jungle. Tarzan and Doomby, again, going for these early ganks for Doomby, making sure he's safe. Stopping Angel from getting this quick reset and getting his footing in this mid lane. You're not seeing SFM pretty much do anything in the early stages to